Okay, it's day 58, and I've still got a spot on my face, so that's nice. You're probably wondering why has this guy got glasses on suddenly again, and he's wearing a beanie hat. My hair is not in a good state because I've had a shower, so it's just flat and it just looks like shit. So I thought I'd put a hat on. But yeah, it's day 58, and I think today is a pretty big day in my life. I think today, tomorrow for a different reason, but not because anything bad has happened, but more so that it seems as if this pendulum's kind of turning, and not in the regard of holy shit, this guy's making fucking bank now, but in the regard of what I'm doing. That's not to say that what I've kind of said isn't still happening, but in the regard of moving forward, my back is more than certainly against the wall. I think there's not, it is nothing really more than just moving forward. Obviously, I'm in a pretty privileged position. I've got a good portfolio. I've got whatever. But as I say, my back is well and truly against the wall. And yeah. Now, I've given all this wisdom over the last 57 videos about different topics. And that's not to say that they are not completely utterly facts, because they are. But, in my opinion at least. But it's one thing to say these things and another thing to follow through with them. And to follow through with them, you need to be a person of your word. You need to be a person that does what he says he's going to do. A person that doesn't fall as soon as this first hurdle comes. A person that doesn't give in to their impulses every single time something comes up that's more stimulating than what it is that they're working on. You've got to be the person that you imagine in your head when you were a kid, that person that you were like, I'm going to be like this guy when I'm older. You need to be that person. And of course, it's not easy. It's an easy thing to say that and say all this talk, but when it comes down to it, that's where most people fall, because they see this, they see what they could be, but because there's so much friction between themselves now and them getting to where they want to get to, and so many uncertain scenarios and uncertain things along the pathway, and it's not just a click of the fingers and you're there. People give up. People see it as, you know what, this isn't working. I'm going to move on or whatever, and they just kind of see it as it's not working now. What's to say that it's going to work in the future? Am I wasting my time? And then they quit. So the reason I'm saying this is because, as I say, my back is well and truly against the wall. And I think in the last few years, I've had so many distractions that I've somewhat thought to be productive, but they're not. But because at the time they're more stimulating than what it is I'm working on and what it is that I'm trying to do, and I feel that it's somewhat productive, even though it's not. It's never productive. I go and do it, and I let myself do those things. Now, the last month or so, I've been very, very mindful of these things, and I've been slowly cutting them out to the best of my ability. And am I exactly where I want to get to? No, in no regard am I. But it's got better. I'm more conscious of it, and I'm moving forward slowly. As I think a lot of you guys are doing the same because of the comments that I'm getting some of the time. So I say this because, today is what feels like a fairly big shifting point in my life. I can't go into more detail than that. Nothing's bad happened. There's nothing bad happened to my family or anything like that. It's all work related. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's something that I've got to kind of work through. And it's these hurdles that kind of come at you in life, and you've got to either look at them and get down on them, or look at them and build on them. And it's building on them. Now, that's not to say that this is a hurdle. This could be a blessing in disguise. This could be not a blessing in disguise. This could be whatever. But right now, it's put me in a position to which I am a lot more hands-on with my own life, if that makes sense. Or what seems to be that way. Now, again, I'm not going to go in detail, but I think the agency that I'm on about in the last few weeks is important. It's a big factor in my life, and I just need to move with it. I saw this thing, and it said, I think I was talking about this yesterday. You need to build up a subconscious trust in yourself that you do what you say you're going to do. So doing that, instead of procrastinating, you wake up and you say, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. And you get up, you do it now, you do it now, you do it now, you do it now, do it now. And over that period of time, it will just become second nature to just do it now, whatever it is that you're thinking about, and it will no longer be that barrier of resistance. You'll just do it straight away. So it's realizing what the thing is and just doing it. But also there's a lot of other things that kind of come into this, and there's a lot of like mental blockades around different things, and it's how you kind of overcome those, because things come and go in your life, and at the time it will feel like the biggest thing in the world, but you'll look back at it in hindsight in a few years' time and you'll be like, okay, you know what, that was actually a good thing, or that was a bad thing. Or what you think at the time isn't what you're going to think for the rest of your life. It just depends on what actions you take after that step that defines what the previous fuck up or success was. It's the actions that you take after it. If you think of it at the time as a failure, and then you move along the line and you start a whole new business and the business takes off, you'll call it a blessing in disguise, and it was a good thing that happened. Whereas if the same thing happens, you call it a failure at the time, but then you go away and you sit in a hole playing video games, eating Doritos all day, you're going to be like, that fucked my life up. So it's what you do afterwards. It's the actions you take after a fuck up that makes who you are. It's the same applies with a breakup. The same applies with anything in life that you could consider a fuck up. You look at it and you're like, okay, cool, I'm not going to get that back. What am I going to do about it? And you do something about it. Yes, if you have a breakup, it doesn't feel great, of course. But what I will say is, when you have a breakup, you can either sit there on your ass and feel bad about yourself, which I think a lot of people do and is the normal thing to do, and I think almost everyone does for a certain period of time. But then there's other people who get up on their ass and do something about it, or others that just sit in a hole like a pussy for ages. So it's what you do after your failures that defines who you are. That's my main kind of thing. And I think a lot of us nowadays, we live for other people more than we live for ourselves. Like, almost all of us. We live for the expectations of others more than we live for ourselves. We don't want to lose that job because what are our parents going to think of us? What are our family going to think of us? What if we're not making money anymore from a specific thing? What are my family going to think of me? What are all my friends going to think of me? You know? That's the first thing that comes into your head. It's not whether I'm going to be able to pay rent. I think obviously that comes into your head at some equation, but I think the main reason for a lot of us is the thoughts of other people. It's like, oh, I'm going to lose respect here. I'm going to lose respect here. People are going to think this of me. People are going to think that of you. But it's all in your head. And yes, their opinion may change, of course, but what can you do about it? What you can do about it is you take it on the chin. Okay, this failure has happened. You do something about it. And you make up for whatever it is, and in a whole different regard, and you build yourself back up again. Or you can, the news is getting out to your family and your parents, whatever, regardless. You either look at it as a failure, or you look at it as a positive, to which, a positive because you've lost that thing. Okay, you're not getting it back. Okay, cool. But there's no point sitting there on your ass doing nothing about it and crying. You get up and you do something else. That's how you build respect. You lose the thing and people hear about it and they lose respect for you and they just see you doing jack shit. Of course they're going to lose respect for you. They see you get up off your ass straight away and just do something else. Yes, they might lose respect initially, but then they're going to be like, okay, this guy actually might get somewhere with his life. He gets on with it. Like, the failures are what make you. I sent this to my friend the other day. I was like, he broke up with his girlfriend a while ago. In fact, it was when I was at Wimbledon, or thereabouts. And it was the same day I was with him. And he says, and it like ruined his day at the time. It ruined his day. He was so depressed after he got broken up with, whatever. But he can look back on it now and he'll see it as a positive because he got rid of that relationship which he would class as quote unquote toxic, and then he got into a whole new relationship now, which is with this is what I'll quote him, a better girl, who's I guess more valuable, has less issues, is a lot more quote unquote wife material, all this stuff. So he sees it as a positive because one, he got out of that relationship, two, he saw the issues with her and he knew the issues with her to make him not get with a girl like her again and be able to appreciate the new girl more. And he's now in a better position. And it applies to business, it applies to relationships, it applies to whatever. But it's what you do afterwards. You have to get up off your ass and keep going, regardless of what happens. If something fails, cool. You either keep going at it, like we're talking business. You make a business, it fails, cool. You either keep going at it and approach from a completely different angle, or you go into a different niche. And you can use the skills that you've gained from that failure in a new business. So there's so many different things. You've just got to look at your failure, or quote unquote failure. It's not actually a failure if you do something about it, and look at the positives from that. And that's how you get to where you want to get to. So yeah, this spot is pissing me off. But that's my kind of that is my take on this. So yeah, I'd like to vent. I'd like to vent a bit more or talk a bit more. This isn't. Don't think that my life is completely over. It's not completely over. This is just in right now. This is what I'm feeling. Nothing's actually being said to me. This is just what I'm feeling right now. Like, it's not like I've been completely like I'm going to prison in a month. No one's actually said anything bad to me about my life. It's more that I'm seeing things from a different perspective, and I'm like, okay, if I actually want to move forward with my life rather than staying stagnant for the rest of the next 5 years of my life, I need to do something. And that's why this is a change. It's not because anything's happened to me directly from anyone else. It's because of me making a decision. So yeah, it's just what you do about that decision afterwards. If you make a decision to do whatever and sit in your ass and do nothing, of course you're gonna see it as a failure because you never did anything about it. So I've said that enough times. You get the idea. But yeah, I think, as I said yesterday, in almost all of my videos, procrastination is a fucking issue, and that's why so many people make so many videos on procrastination and self-help, because they know the ROI of it, because the amount of people that try and get over procrastination and how big of an issue it is brings them a high view count, because so many people are struggling with that issue and they're looking for an easy way out of it. But there's no easy way out of it. I don't think there's no easy way out of it. There's different ways you can go about doing it, but to do that, you've got to stay disciplined to that thing. So it kind of discounts the fact of procrastination, because you've got to stay disciplined regardless. And if you can't just stay disciplined to stop procrastinating, then you're not going to stay disciplined for anything. So you've got to build that discipline first of all. And it's easy for me to say that you've got to sit here and say, do it now, 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 I do it now, I do it now, I do it now. Yeah, and honestly, I think that is the easiest way to go about doing it. I don't think there's any other easy way about doing procrastination. I mean, yes, you can block all of your distractions. You can block all of your distractions, so of course that's going to work, but are you going to be able to just completely like get rid of all of your distractions 24/7 and not have them there ever when you're working, like ever? You'll maybe do it for a few days and then you'll relapse. You'll have all of these blockers on. You're like, no, what? I'll check the Twitter timeline now. You go on Twitter. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this now. I'm going to check YouTube now, and then you just relapse. So you've got to go at it from an angle of the option's still being there, but you've got to build it in your head to avoid that option. Avoid that option of instant gratification, instant stimulus, and you just go at it with the approach of I do it now, I do it now, I do it now, I do it now. And you'll come to realize, I've said this before, but you come to realize once you actually start doing the task that you know you've got to be doing, it's never as bad as you think it is, ever. It's almost fun a lot of the time once you actually get going, but it's that initial like wall of 10-15 minutes before you enter flow state that's the hardest. Once you enter the flow state on the task, you're just completely in the zone doing it, but it's that initial entry into that which is the hardest part for most people. So yeah, but yeah, today's been a pretty big day for me. I don't know, like I am more than confident that I can achieve this goal within the next year. More than confident. In fact, within the next 6 months before June or July. June's the 6th month of the year, so at the end of June. So I mean that's 7 months because it's middle of December now. But it's just the process of staying consistent and doing 20% of things that bring you 80% of the results, and being consistent with those, and minimizing distractions outside of that, and almost having a to-do list of non-negotiables or whatever that you just stick to and do every single day, regardless of how you feel. And if you just do those things, you will move forward regardless. So you just do those things, and then you can add things on top of that. So if you've got all of the back end sorted for your business, and all you need now is clients, of course, that 20% of things that brings you 80% of the results is outreaching to people. So you either put time into getting leads yourself, you outsource it, you work on your email copy, you work on your DMs, you maybe add a VSL, you maybe add whatever to the outreach, and then you get to the point to which you're outreaching to all of these people, and because your stuff is almost optimized to the best of your ability, because you put the time in to get there, then of course you're going to get results. So yeah, it's realizing where you're at and what you could do to improve, where the issues lie, and fixing the issues and moving forward from there. So and that applies to your own life as well. It's not that's not just business. That applies to your own life as well. You realize what the issues are and you fix them. Which I don't know what your issue might be, but I'm sure each of us have our own issues that we can kind of refer to while I'm talking about this, and you can be like, okay, I need to fix this issue. I know this has been an issue in my life for an extended period of time, and I've said I wanted to do something about it, but I've never done something about it. But I know it's an issue, and it's holding me back, and I know I'm only going to be on this planet for about 80 years. I'm probably about 20 years into those 80 years, so I've already used up about 25% of my life, or 20% of my life, depending on how old you are. You've got to that point in your life, and if I don't fix this problem now, next thing I know, I'm going to be 30 with the same problem, and the time that I've had to achieve my dreams is almost diminished, because now I'm getting to the age where the societal norm is to have kids, to which I'm not in the position that I want to have kids. And then that's when people start getting depressed, because they realize they're behind. They realize that they haven't spent the majority of their younger years doing productive things and getting themselves to where they want to get to. So everyone just kind of stagnates, and they sit at a quote unquote dead end job just so they can pay the bills, and there's no way out of it because they've sat themselves paying this mortgage that they've got to pay regardless of how they feel, and therefore have to sit doing this job because they have to pay the mortgage, they have to provide for their family, they have to provide for the kid, and there's no easy way out of doing that. So they get stuck in this hole of, shit, I could have done more of my life when I was younger, and now I'm just wasting my days away just so I can pay off bills so I can live. So it's depressing, and it's not what you want to hear, but it's the straight truth, because I think a lot of people just kind of forget about that. They're just kind of naive to it. They're like, yeah, it was a problem for them. I'll sort my life out soon. Yeah, in 3 months I'm going to be doing this. In 6 months I'm going to be doing this. In a year I'm going to be doing this. But how many times have you said that, and then you look back at yourself in a year and you realize you're in pretty much the same position as you were last year? So it's just a case of being consistent. Simple and just simple and truly being consistent, and stop lying to yourself. I think it's literally, you just got to stop lying to yourself. You've got to stop saying stuff that you're going to do and then not pulling through with it. If you say something, you do it. No matter how you feel, no matter what time of day it is, if it's on schedule and you've set your alarm to wake up at 6 a.m., you get up at 6 a.m. and you do the thing at 6 a.m. And that's not me telling you from my high pedestal that I'm utterly perfect, because I'm fucking not. But I understand the principles. And of course, I'm 20. I have flaws, as do we all. But it's a case of understanding what your flaws are and trying your best to fix them. And also understanding the value of time and how important time is, and not wasting away your time doing mindless things just so you can avoid the fact of thoughts in your head. Avoid the thoughts in your head, because I think that's what a lot of people do nowadays. They just go around their life aimlessly avoiding the thoughts in their head, with drinking, with going out, with playing video games, with watching Netflix, and they always have to be stimulated by whatever it is, just so they don't have to face their own thoughts in the middle of the day, because no one wants to do that. So if you can be the 1% of people that do that, and you do go and face your thoughts head on, unlike anyone else, you're going to be the one that's successful. You're going to be the one that gets to the dreams that they've stated, because everyone has dreams, but not many people get them, because they're not willing to do the things that 1% of people are and 99% of people are not. So they stay stagnant. So if you can be the person that does what the 1% of people do and the 99% of others don't, then without a shadow of a doubt, if you do that for an extended period of time, and almost aimlessly, because you know the result doesn't come instantly, but you know if you stick at it, it's going to come, because it will, regardless of how results are going right now, then you're going to be the one that gets to where you want to get to. So with that said, I just want to say one more thing. People that are in middle-aged jobs paying rent in a job that they don't enjoy, of course there are anomalies that come out of that. They spend their time very intentionally and they work on businesses, they build real estate licenses that they can get themselves out of that job. They get other income sources outside of that job. But for a lot of people, they get themselves tied into a mortgage contract that they can't pay off. And the only way they can pay off, as well as pay food for their family, is to sit in a job that they don't enjoy just so they can afford those bills. And doing so, you're almost selling your soul just so that you can live. Because you're not living. You're not even living. You're just surviving. You're literally just surviving. You're not living. And yes, you might have a year's holiday a year, but is that how you want to live? When you see all of these people online living the lifestyles that they live, is that how you want to live? I don't think it is. Personally, that's just my opinion. But as I say, it's my opinion, so take that as you will. Again, sorry that I've got a beanie on my head, and I'm sorry that I've got a massive spot on my chin. But other than that, thank you for watching the video. I have a big day tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow early afternoon. So we're going to work that out. But with that said, yeah, I'm enjoying this series, and it's very good at keeping me accountable. I do want to get a bit my hands on with it, but we're moving. I hope this video has been of value to you, and I want you all to be successful like myself. I'm not successful right now, but I want you to be on the same path as me. So the more of you there are, and the more of you that are kind of in the comment section and like I can kind of know, the better. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you, and I hope that my videos have made somewhat of a difference to your life, even if it's very, very vague. But yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you tomorrow night at a similar time, and yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, don't waste your life, boys. Appreciate you. Bye.